It is all here, luminous water, the imprinted sapling, or sapling matched branch by branch to the living tree, and the lens as if it was against the green. Who made this one? Yoshi's house. I like it here. I don't know that name. Ah, yes. The Curse of Sprite Tiles. High up there. And curses. Oh, you! Thing works as long as you hold left or right, which I guess they didn't test that far. Yeah, that's not gonna help. Bounce. Alright, what am I missing here? I want to check out... Ah! Nope, that looks like death down there. I'm just waiting. So I don't think that there's anything to fall onto. Anything to fall onto there, so this is just a... Yeah, okay, it was just a bit of Kaizo blockery. I think the right side might be better. What's up, Steven? Holy Mother Jimmy, who took a bite out of the sprites. It's a common problem. There's a patch for it, but this being OLDC, they, can't apply that patch. I assume for when the compilation comes out, that patch will probably be applied, just like a quality of life thing. But we'd have to ask the person making it, and we're not doing that. I need to set lives to higher because this might take a little while. Oh, Jiminy, not just Jimmy. But yeah, it's a common enough problem that usually when I'm moderating, I tend to end up pointing this out like once every 5 or 6 moderations. Like, this is a patch you probably should apply if you're going to do these sort of things. Or just don't make your levels like that. Alright. I regret my decisions. What's up, Luis? How you doing? I'm just playing some OLDC levels. After being annoyed at a thing that didn't work for work. Keep forgetting about that Kaizo block. Yeah. The thing I was testing yesterday was having ID confusion problems on. I decided, like, well, you know, why don't I just sidestep this? Start up a new instance and see what happens. And the answer was, once it got to the Twilio service, it fell over and said, oh no, you can't do that. You can either have phone numbers or you can have IDs. You can't have both. Which was highly vexing. And oddly surprising. I don't really know what in their internal system would cause such an irritating constraint, but here we are. Thinking here. I think I despawned one of them. No, I didn't do it. Anything of the sort. Is this a safe spot right now? Oh crap, that's a one-tile gap. You recognize this one? No, that's never a good sign. How you doing, Howluta? Thank you for the good luck. Alright. Kind of like tired and things. Had pink eye. Oh, that sucks. Pink eye's no fun. Thank goodness it's easy enough to cure with modern antibiotics and whatnot, but it's no fun. It's not the death sentence it once was. If it ever was. I don't think it was ever a death sentence. I had pink eye once, like, right before, like, finals week, so I got to skip the first day of finals, which was absolutely pointless for me because I was only taking one class that had a final, chemistry. And frankly speaking, how did it end up working out, actually? Yeah, I only had chemistry that day. That was the one class I had that had a final. Then the next day I went, I had film class, and film class didn't have a final because it's film class. You know, the film editing class, I suppose. It was very much a project-based class. Oh, nuts. So I basically was like, hey, I missed the filing yesterday. They're doing it right now. Mind if I go ask the teacher if I can take it? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. This is just a goof-off period anyway. Go down, chemistry teacher's like, oh, yeah, sure, here. Got pen and paper? No. Oh, here's a piece of paper. Here's a pen. Good luck. And then I proceeded to spend half the time needed to actually answer the entire questions and ace the extra credit. Because that was a really easy chemistry class, and I'm surprisingly alive. I still want to try and despawn those. I feel like I can. Like, if I did this... No, then they respawn. No. Maybe you'll get one of... No. I think I got one of them. I think I got one of them. Okay, cool. New territory. It's coughing, so you've been taking cough syrup. Oh, good call. Sensible. I've got a feeling about that obstacle. Yeesh. I might not get the dragon coins. Yeah, whenever I've had pink eye, it's literally just been, oh no, it's the pink eye. It's conjunctivitis right in your eyeball. It's never been anything too bad. And usually just some eye drops of some sort, bed rest, that kind of thing. Had mole day. I think everybody has a mole day. And while mole day is good, I think I'd prefer mole day. Because mole is really tasty. Mole. Oh. I pick out one time, did nothing for it, and probably grossed some people out. Was not wise in these ways. I mean, honestly, probably a few days of just waiting around would have fixed it too. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's literally more just a cold for your eyeball. Like, it's just, it's irritating. It's irritating. And it's very contagious. But as long as you're just, you know, as long as you're not constantly rubbing your eye on people, it's probably fine. Wash your hands. Brush your teeth. That kind of thing. Of course, make sure you wash all of your stuff afterwards. Another kind of one of those things you just gotta do. I think my attempts to despawn just aren't paying off. Oh, wait! That's an easier way of doing that. Second jump. Third jump. You know, I'm just let him go, and then we'll figure out how to do this jump. Because I think you just need to be at the very bottom for that. Oh boy, a time section, most likely. I did it. I hope I did it, actually. But there was a single coin, that's a good sign. I'm waiting for, like, there to be a trap of some sort. Like, I just feel like there's gonna be, like, a giant hammer that falls on my head. Or that. Random-ass spikes are definitely a thing, too. No. Okay. Okay. You know what? Oh god, okay. What am I doing here? I don't want to get double hit, but I think I do need to bounce off at least one. That was an ignoble way to lose. Meant to use memory addresses not mapped. Oh, fun! Speed checks and modifiers on the tide. I didn't know that. They give you eye drops. Oh, good. I said, it's not like the end of the world. It's a perfectly like normal-ish thing to catch every once in a while, especially if you work with kids and other such things. But it's important to take care of your eyeballs. And it's also important just to like not let things fester. Like my sister did when she got scarlet fever. Because nobody gets scarlet fever in this day and age. Because all you have to do is go to the doctor and get your amoxicillin when you've got strep throat so you don't get scarlet fever. But sometimes we make poor decisions. There we go. Alright, so that's actually not all that bad. Like, the one-tile jump off of the note block is not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. That's still evil, though. Still kind of want the moon, but I'm not going to go get the moon. Why'd I do that? A regular jump would have been fine. Yes. 54 standard is correct. How you doing, Max? Some people like you make that more bad decisions than others. It's true. Sometimes it happens. I have 5 left to go, including this one. There's one I took a DNF on last night, number 4, which I found out was made by the fella who came up with Super Marissa World, which explains a lot about how it's made. But I got to a certain obstacle and was just kind of hosed by it and didn't know what to do, and it was already late, so I went to bed. So, time allowing, I might come back to it tonight, or possibly later. I'm almost done with the standard side of things, and I've done the patching for the other disqualified one, and looking at it quickly in Lunar Magic reveals that it is, in fact, a standard entry, so it'll be fairly easy to just complete. What's OLDC? Old School Level Design Contest. So basically, you're restricted to Lunar Magic, no bonus ASM. And no weird compositing of tiles or editing of map 16 that you see with, say, VLDC. You're restricted to just, like, if you can do it in Lunar Magic's UI, you're allowed, I think, mostly. I think you also weren't allowed to edit palettes, maybe. There were some additional restrictions, but it is basically like a how good of a level can you make using just vanilla mechanics. And graphics. Yes, no boner ASM. What a dumb thing to say. I don't trust any of this. There was no way to know. A lot of Lunar Magic stuff, yeah. Tomato guy in this? I don't think so. I don't think he submitted anything for the standard side of things. He is banned, but, you know, he does re-reg sometimes. I don't believe I've heard any tale of there being a Tomato Johnson level in this batch. And if it wasn't the standard batch, he's gotten awful lucky for me to have gotten this far without noticing it. Well, he wasn't banned that long ago. Probably like a year ago, a couple years now. He wasn't banned for being annoying with contests. He was banned for saying bad stuff on Discord. As far as I can recall. Maybe he was harassing somebody. It was something weird like that. It wasn't just that he was making obnoxious contest levels that were not fun. And generally outside the purview of contests. It is infraction log, exactly. Yeah, Discord something. Old School is in 2000 Old School, because after 2001 people used the fancy new map 16 graphics and custom blocks. What? There's 3 now! No, we're not doing that. You would know better than me, Max. You would know better than me. I am no Mario historian. But I think the worst part is no custom music. At the end of Daizo's level, there was like a press E in chat if you think that unsampled music should be allowed. And I'm definitely on the page of unsampled music probably should be allowed, just to prevent the judges from going slowly insane. Yeah, if map 16's so good, why isn't there map 17? Like, shouldn't they have kept up with the years? Shouldn't we be on map 23 now? Kind of like a Windows stopped improving past 2000. In fact, gone backwards in time. Yeah, well, difficult. There's no part of this that's actually, like, that bad. There's some waiting. And I'm hoping that right after that, next swamp is, like, a midway. Because we have traversed a fairly far distance. But, like, there's nothing I've been asked to do that wasn't reasonable. Balls. Where's Mode 8? Yeah. That's for the Super Nintendo. Whenever they get around to releasing that. Because we all know it's coming. Well, at least I know it's coming because my uncle works at Nintendo. Yeah, like, basically, most of the difficulty in this level just comes from getting ready to wait for the right things. That's new. I didn't spend enough time waffling back and forth and he spawned at a weird time. Doesn't change my strat, though. Like, what would Mode 8 even be? Like, Mode 7's already Mode 7 because it's, like, weird and does things really differently. I'd be curious to know how much, like, PPU Silicon Space is dedicated just to Mode 7, because it's a very weird mode and doesn't share an awful lot of attributes with the other ones. Oh yeah! Also, since you're Hallelujah, I finally beat Dark Souls on Sunday. I have completed it. I killed all of the bosses that I could find, including but not limited to Manos, the Hands of Fate, and the really big yellow fire dragon. Oh, and the final boss, but he turned out to be pretty irrelevant. Yeah, he turned out to be a lot easier after everything else I'd suffered through. The DLC bosses were definitely a lot harder than the other bosses, and I can definitely say that my victory against the dragon had some moments where, like, wait a second, I'm alive? How can this be? But it worked out. A win's a win. Could I repeat that victory? Oh, probably not. but you take those. Artoris. Yeah, Artoris was hard, but not... Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened with the Artoris fight. Like, I feel like that one I also got lucky. He fell into, like, a reasonable pattern, and I also managed to, like, slap him hard enough during his power-up phase that he didn't feel like continuing to power up. So... But yes, I've completed it. It's done. Yeah, feel free to check out the VOD. They'll be on the final two of them, or three of them, will be on YouTube like a couple weeks from now. Probably Thanksgiving weekend, but still there. There is no such thing as a Super Nintendo. It's a stupid joke. My uncle works for Nintendo is basically a statement that you use to profess something that's an obvious and bald-faced lie. Bold-faced lie. I mean, it's in memory, so if you know, want to change it, you can. It's got to be somewhere. Yeah, it's a frequent, like, rumor, like, way to start a rumor or something that people did in the 90s and early 2000s. Like, oh yeah, it's true, the next Zelda is gonna be 4D. My uncle's been working on it. I even saw it at Nintendo, but I can't say too much because I've signed an NDA. Of course you did, kid. Of course you did. Sounds like the German release of the Super Nintendo in a different timeline. I'd believe it. German's a weird language. Who changes speed tables for a game like SMW? I can't believe I watched that again. I mean, people who want to change speed tables, that's my best guess. Nuts. Remember an old horror game called My Uncle Works at Nintendo, where his uncle actually did work at Nintendo and got N64 early with GoldenEye and 64 and all the other stuff he played with his friends. The uncle turned out to be some weird extra-dimensional Slenderman-style monster. That's amazing. You want to speak to the programmers who made this game? I mean, they made it, you know what, like, God, how long ago? You stop doing that. Like, good luck with an awful lot of them remembering. I suspect the answer would be, dude, we were under a tight deadline. I don't know. We couldn't fit it in that bank, and so I didn't want to do it this way, so I just put it in memory, because why not? Probably also talked to you about, like, the serious amount of cigarettes he smoked during the coding process and how he got an ulcer. But yeah. Game programming was slightly different back then. Slightly. I was reading a fun bit where, like, Capcom, when they were working on Street Fighter 2 for arcade, had the issue of they couldn't travel between different floors of the building. And so when they wanted to burn a new ROM, sometimes they'd have to lower the discs out the window. So, like, so that, like, the guys on the 4th floor could pick up the images they wanted to burn. Because they just couldn't go outside, apparently. Really weird. Seems like Dr. Kaizo Mario. Yeah, it's definitely straddling the edge. But mostly it's, most of the difficulty is just in being precise long enough. Yeah, definitely put random numbers in the speed table every few frames. That's the right answer. You could have a level that uses the title mechanics of the San Francisco Bay. Because those are wacky. Okay, there we go. Thump. Yeah, definitely like that better than landing in front of the saw and running. Why wouldn't you want to randomize Mario's speed? This is true. Also, those spikes make no sense. Okay. Back here. Reminder, we've seen 3 dragon coins. Nope. Okay. No! Okay, those are mean. Know what values to mess with? Absolutely. Alright, so my hope of there being a midway is beginning to die. Seeing that 4th dragon coin does not fill me with hope. I gave up on level design here. Pretty much. I'm going to make you do the same 4 or 5 jumps over and over. Gets old fast. It was a hack I moderated way early in my moderation career called like Luigi's Longest Journey, and sometimes it wasn't long because it was interesting. It was long because he copied and pasted the same area like 4 times in rapid succession. You tested this one, didn't finish it, got close, only played it 40 minutes. I'm impressed. I've been at this. Nah, less than 30 minutes. Then I'm gonna guess this is actually, like, 1F screens long. And you just have to just be precise that long. Like, no single trick here is all that bad. It's just a matter of stringing everything together and maintaining consistency. Do I also stream or making random videos? Because by the time you see it, it's posted. Basically, like, the way the VODs work is I have a system that kind of cuts them up automatically for me. And then I get put into sort of like a worker queue, and I have to go through them and finish them up by, you know, putting words to them, giving them metadata, that kind of thing, writing descriptions. And then eventually things end up there. And depending upon what I'm doing, there tends to be lower lag, but like I've had videos where like I've been sitting on them for like a year before I finally get around to finishing them. On YouTube, yeah, no, I don't really make videos offline for that. There's been a couple that I've made offline and uploaded to YouTube, but pretty much all of them are Twitch VODs that have been cut up a bit. Very lightly edited in most cases. So, just the way I handle it. Like, currently all the OLDC stuff, aside from like the first 3, 4 I played, are sitting in a queue somewhere. Ready. I have a couple of them ready. I think it's ready up till like Max's level. And then I've got to just go do that. But that's like good stuff I can get done on the East Coast. No reason to like rush into that. I finished the Dark Souls ones. Those are all chaptered and texted up. And the very final one even has a list of things I would do differently, knowing what I know now. Such as, learn to block. Learn to use the lock-on. Don't use the same effing axe the whole game. Because I did, in fact, use the same effing axe the whole game, pretty much. Also, to answer a question you asked a while ago and I got distracted, yeah, I do plan to do the Mario 3 ones afterward at some point. But it'll be after I get back from the East Coast. So sometime I'll probably start sometime after, like, the 7th. Or 8th or something. It was my favorite axe. That raw axe was awesome for the better part of the game. It only fell off, really, during the DLC. Like, a +5 raw axe was just really good. Like, in part because I messed up. Not really messed up, but, like, chose to use my skills, my level ups in an unoptimal way, I think. Like, I put a lot of points into strength that I really shouldn't have. I probably put more points into endurance than I really needed. I may have put more points into whatever Constitution is. So I got a lot of, like... I got a ridiculous amount of HP, but I don't think it actually mattered that much. I guess actually, no, the strength did help because I was eventually fast rolling. That was kind of useful. But I probably could have gotten set up for fast rolling earlier and easier if I had done some smarter things. I kind of also, like, kept my equipment choices based roughly upon, like, only one stat and then, like, aesthetics. Like, I really liked my gargoyle helm and wore that for almost pretty much the entirety of the game. Except when I was going through areas that were dark, and I wore the sun maggot. And even then, the sun maggot ended up being the other hat I wore the rest of the game. Because it provided more poise than anything, poise per unit weight than I could find any other hat in my inventory. How'd the final boss go? It went pretty well, honestly. Like, the first time I ran into him, I basically said, nuts to this, I'm just going to see if I can break him down really fast. And I took him down to about half health with my stats and axe. Because I eventually traded the raw axe for a axe plus 15. Which turned out to be a good call, just because, like, my dex and strength were enough to bring that to be better than the raw axe. But I think it only took me about 40 minutes of tooling. Eventually, I finally was like, oh yeah, there's stuff in this arena I can use, so that he won't be able to leap at me really easily. There's, and then the next... I think when I fought him, I didn't take any damage. Or I didn't take any damage for the better part of the fight. Like, it was a really easy fight when I finally beat him and understood what I was doing. I can also stun him, I realized. Like, 2 regular axe hits and he'd squeak. So. Friend told him it's easy to parry. Yeah, I didn't parry ever. I forgot that was a mechanic. That was another thing on my list was play the game more than, like, twice a month so you don't forget things like that. Okay. New territory again. I'm not liking how these guys are syncing up. Okay, I'm gonna... Oh, God, okay. Alright, glad enough to jump onto that. Yeah, I suspect I probably died more than the average person did in my entire run of Dark Souls. I intend to find out exactly how many times I died. No! Oh, also, hi, Evil Ghost. How you doing? Yeah, I might have missed your name. Yep. How's it still going? I mean, that was the furthest I've gotten. That was the PB right there. I saw the 5th Dragon Coin. I assume that that's near the end of the level. Just because, like, I'm pretty sure they're gonna run out of screens soon. I mean, I spent last night, what, 40 minutes on a single level? Level 4, made by the Marissa World dude. Yeah. I think the thing that was probably most hilarious was I was, like, pretty down on fighting the DLC dragon. And I got close a couple times. Like, I got him half health. And then he started doing the ear-wrecking scream thing, which was really awful. But, like, I think it was less than 40 minutes from when I started him that I killed him. Much to Fries' chagrin. Yeah, that would have been the place to put a checkpoint. Some people really hate checkpoints. They just like to keep the player in suspense for the entirety of the level. Not sure why. Maybe a checkpoint beat them up when they were a kid. You quite like Calumet? It took me a while to kind of come up with a decent strategy, but I kind of went with the Sif thing and just started just trying to get underneath him. And that worked out really well for me. Also learning to roll his, like, left head or right head attack? Yeah, learning to roll his right head attack and hopefully dodging the ear-piercing scream attack. Were sort of my bread and butter for that fight. And then just hoping I can get far enough and heal up enough. I also realized, like, I had kind of absurd healing by the end of the game, having, you know, a +5 Estus. Could have been +6 had I not, you know, drunk one of them. Thinking it would work that way, instead of offering it to a random firekeeper. But you learn. Watch a friend play Goodbye Volcano High. The entire thing is in one sitting. Dear God, was it dull? I mean, it's a visual novel, right? Like, I've heard of it. I'm only really familiar with it because of the... it's the most genteel way to put this. The 4chan parody that was made. Which is the only reason I know about the real game to begin with. But, like, they're both visual novels. I mean, they're not the most exciting thing to watch someone play. Like, unless the visual novel happens to be like Danganronpa. Then that could be fun to watch people play, because there's, like, actual gameplay. Between the visual novel things. Yes, the Snoot game. one of those. I still can't believe they went and... Oh, dang it, I fell off. I should have let that thing rotate more. But yeah, weird stuff. My understanding is they were going to add, like, some, I don't know, like, gameplay beyond normal visual novel stuff, but I also heard that, like, the head writer got fired or something, and they had to do a bunch of retooling because of it. Like, it just didn't sound like a good development cycle. The Goodbye Volcano High, I can't speak for the other one. I don't know much about that other than its existence. And raison d'etre for existence. Ugh. Visual novel, but like nothing really happens to the whole thing, and there wasn't many unintentionally funny moments you could think of behind the weird dinosaur juxtapositions with human society. I mean, yeah, but weird dinosaur juxtapositions with human society was done best by the TV show Dinosaurs. We all know that that's the case. Something like that. That's unfortunate. Like, a visual novel basically lives and dies by its writing first, and its pictures if it's a pornographic one. And if it doesn't live up to those two expectations, no one's going to have much fun. No, it's not going to be remembered well. Because there's nothing else to remember. I guess the music sometimes. Like, there can be good music in visual novels, I guess. But, yeah. It's an odd category of game, thing, experience. Especially when the extent of the visual novel sometimes is you make literally 3 decisions and everything else is just there to read. Or you make 3 decisions where most of your decisions don't matter except they lead you to a game over. Not that I'm thinking of anything in particular on that specific note. Crap, I'm letting him go too low. I was thirsty. Killed another D&D character today. Yours or someone else's? Hopefully someone else's. I'm curious about this. I do have a decent D&D story to tell, because it's been a little while. Someone else's. Game year DM. Paladin died deep in the Dungeon of the Mad Prophets. Dungeon of the Mad Prophets. Huh. I mean, you could take that one way or the other, as in prophets whose prophecies drove them mad, or the Temple of the Mad Prophets, where you make a lot of cash. One part of the game, the whole Battle of the Bands arc, by the way, you don't have just to do rhythm game sections. By the way, you don't have to do the rhythm game sections. The story progresses the same either way. Oh, that's lame. MC's friend just gets really angry at you for no reason and threatens the stability of the friend group. The whole Dino teenage drama gets resolved in like 5 minutes after time skip. That's actually pretty weak. I guess if I wanted to watch a Disney Channel movie of the week, I'd watch a Disney Channel movie of the week. At least sometimes those dealt with complicated issues like South Africa and learning to ski and the Deedles. Was that their names, the Deedles? Where they just send these surf bums off to, like, trust fund surfer bums off to become park rangers for no apparent reason. And I think they end up flooding Yellowstone. Like, it was a really weird movie, even for Disney movies, even for Disney Channel movie standards. So does that mean that, no! Oh, the wall clip threw me off! Scenes consist of A shot, B shot, switching with repeating animations, really distracting when the 2 characters are talking with each other for like 12 minutes and doing nothing. I mean, that's pretty standard for visual novels, A shot, B shot styles. If I had to make a guess, and I'm not saying that they did, but I'm probably saying that they did, they're using Ren'Py, which is like the standard visual novel engine that everybody uses nowadays, unless you're Japanese. In fact, some Japanese people probably still use Ren'Py, I don't know. But basically, like, it makes that kind of thing really easy to do. But your average visual novel has a bunch of your character sprite-looking things, some full-screen CG stuff every once in a while. It's not a genre that has a lot of content in any given game, which is why the genre is largely dedicated to the pornographic arts. Still curious about the palette, and I hope you're typing that up. I have not gotten too distracted by bagging on visual novels here. There's actually like a manga I picked up because I found out that there was an anime being made about it, about visual novels in the PC 88, PC 98 timeline. And the manga was pretty interesting. I'm tempted to actually pick up the anime because I think the anime probably goes longer than the manga did. And the manga was very interested in the sort of like timeline and how things worked. And then, oh hey, it's Daisy. In that era. And the thing I learned that was like the cutest trivia point I can point out is, at that time, an awful lot of computer stores were like fronts for programming outfits. Like they would sell games, but they would also be selling their games, which I think is kind of cute. I don't think we ever had that here in America. I think the way it worked in America, wall clip was the shareware system, which I don't know if Japan had. Whole thing was made in Unity, and everybody has a 3D model that attempts to make interesting scenes and compositions. Oh, that's kind of lame. Huh. How odd. There's a lot to say. Fair enough. Pre-session, a sorcerer died because he ran ahead and was killed by Cerberus. Surprise, Cerberus. Did I see Code Monkeys? Which Code Monkeys? The animated TV show or a different thing? Because I definitely saw the animated TV show. It was, you know, very 2001 or 2004-ish. Also, hi Abe Lincoln. Hi Mira. Mika. I don't know why I want to transpose those letters in your name. Never understand why people program their games in Python. I mean, if all you have is a hammer. Triceratops' character named Trent is in Trent Reznor, as in Reznor from Mario World. It's the only thing you found charming. You got 2 lines up. I mean, wouldn't that be Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails? Also, because that's who Reznor is named after in the game. But yeah, I see where you're going with that. I don't know if you told me about the Cerberus before. Ah, crap, I waited too long. I'm off my cycle here. That's one way to solve it. Why doesn't the Reznor fight play 9 Inch Nails music? Probably because it's way too much effort to license that, and they weren't very good at music on the SNES at that point in time. Because this was like the first SNES game. But Hand That Feeds as boss music would be pretty dope, I think. I was playing pinball last weekend, and at the pinball bar I was at, the 3 songs came in succession, like right as I came in. Was they like Final Fantasy battle music, Final Fantasy battle music, victory music, and then Bustin' by Neil Sierra. I was just absolutely surprised at that combination. And it's not like, you know, people there actually pick the music. It's whatever the bartenders want. And they are just in weird moods sometimes. There we go. I'll keep that in mind. Sorcerer and Wizard ran ahead after an exhausting battle. They found a room with busts of dog heads mounted up on the walls and a stone pedestal in the middle. They identified the rune on it. A summoning room, looks like a dog. Place their hands on the rune, and dog heads shoot beams of kaleidoscopic light at the center of the room. A mass flesh forms there. Oh my. And of course it's after a fight, because, you know, no sense in actually, you know, resting up or regrouping. No. Always split the party. I'd say my D&D group has learned this lesson, but I don't think we have either. Flesh becomes a massive fire-breathing Cerberus. The heavy portcullis falls behind him. The wizard casts Misty Steps and leaves. The sorcerer is left to die alone. Yeah, teleports are worth it, honestly. If you can get away with it with your character. In 4, yeah, I had a character who, like, had 4 teleports on him at all times. It was fantastic. My personal favorite one was, whenever someone tries to hit you, whether or not they hit you or not, you teleport. That saved me a lot of time and damage. They split the party often and other people die. Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. You think they'll learn by now. It's an out-of-character thing that you generally have to learn. Oh, weird. See if I can focus enough and tell a D&D story at the same time. So, our most recent campaign has been kind of like Sliders. Like, we basically teleport between various similar but slightly distinct universes, instances of the same area. Usually where something has gone wrong. But we're always teleported near the township, and various things we've done is sort of like there was a take on what I thought was Fern Gully. Wasn't actually Fern Gully. There was literally Ghostbusters. And there's a few other ones that are more unique to the setting. But most recent one was kind of weird. We got to town and was told, yeah, people keep getting, like, eviscerated. Like, oh, are there any packs? Like, yeah, it's people who, like butchers and bakers. You know, like, food service people? It's like, yeah, food service people. So, we go and investigate one of these recent eviscerations and discover it was a candlestick maker, which doesn't help. Seeing as my character is officially a baker, that was my entire plan with my character, was initially to make a bow elf, but then I'm like, no, I have to have a bad pun somewhere here, so I have Pop Keebler, baker, and elven businessman. So I have skills related to baking, which has made me a rather useless ranger. Aside from shooting things, I can shoot things pretty well. And bake, and detect poison. Nuts. And so my plan was, because they wanted to use me as bait, and I'm like, I don't want to be bait. So I'd make a bunch of human-sized cakes with pumpkin pie spice and, like, raspberry jam inside. And, like, we'll, you know, try to trick it that way. And in the middle of the night, dang it, hear a voice in my head. It's like, hey, Keebler, I want cake. And I'm like, hey, okay, you want cake? Where are we going to get cake? Hey, everybody in the party, he wants cake. Let's give him some cake. So I wake up the party, and I take the cake into the other room. And this large, weird, orange and black leg pops out of the cupboard and tries to, like, stab the cake. It's kind of like a big centipede-looking leg. And, of course, I popped into the wall. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I just dropped the cake. I'm like, all right, guys, I think we should probably shoot it and stab it and all those other types of things we do. And so what ends up popping out is this large creature, way too large for the cupboard, of course, who has a great number of legs and orange and black stripes. You may be able to guess where this is going, because Snyder actually did. I didn't. I thought it was a takeoff Freddy Krueger. But around the time one of the characters, his name is Dunn, shooting him with a crossbow, the creature goes and turns to him and says, "Bolts don't work, Dunn!" Snyder actually finds exactly what he's looking for. Yeah, it's Eldritch Horror Garfield. So we're fighting Eldritch Horror Garfield. But of course, we eventually kill it. And one of my teammates decides, like a dumbass, to go and investigate the cupboard alone. And of course, out pops another friggin' one. And it closes all the doors, so now we have to, like, waste turns getting back into position to go shoot this thing. This bigger thing. Eventually it dies. And for whatever godforsaken reason, yet another one of my teammates decide, oh yeah, I'm going to investigate the cupboard again. That sounds like a good plan. And of course, the monster's actually not dead yet, closes all the doors, and the DM summons her to the other room. So you can do one of those, you know, DM chat things, which are always so nerve-wracking for players. Nuts. She comes back and is like, yeah, I didn't say anything. No, come on. And one of the guys, priests, is like casting, you know, something to not let her tell a falsehoods, like Zone of Truth or whatever the hell the spell is. And she's like, no, all that happened was, it whispered at me, they'll never believe you. And then it melted. And I just bust up laughing because I'm like, okay, that's hilarious. That's the Bill Murray Garfield connection right there. Yeah, it turns out the DM wasn't aware of the Bill Murray Garfield connection. He just decided to do that randomly, which is a thing that he does. So we're still trying to take care of Garfield. Last week we fought a building-sized Garfield, which took some time in doing. After doing everything calmed down a bit, except a bunch of assholes wearing dog masks seem to be trying to bring Garfield back. And so we're dealing with the outcome of the Odeite cultists. Anyway, to be continued on Friday. We'll see how that goes for us. Garfield. Nice try. I don't have a Garfield sprite. That'd be cool, though, wouldn't it? Let me catch up. In the mood for bargaining today, so when the wizard offered his intelligence and spellbook to get his friend revived, you allowed. Oh, that's nice. You're trying to play clerics that cost him too bad. Do you want a bakery? Not in real life. That Pop Keebler is raising adventure capital. Want to have a game at some point where the wizard has an anywhere but here prepared and cast it as soon as he thinks that there's too much danger. Anywhere but here is basically a plane shift to a random plane. I like that. I like that a lot. Ever seen the RPG where you find a mysterious Garfield friend on the beach and it gives you therapy? No, I haven't. Why do they call it an oven when the hot food... I don't know. Nobody knows. I also did get to share some of my favorite, like, weird Garfield lore. Like, there's that one comic where Garfield... where John drinks, like, dog semen, it seems like. And I was curious about that, because I was pretty sure it was a real comic. And the answer is yes, it is. Jim Davis did not intend it to be dog semen in the cup. Apparently... a farmer thing, you give cows like protein supplements effectively in liquid form to try and ensure healthy birth or something, and he was kind of going with that, but like none of us were farmers, and so when the response is, oh, you'll have healthy puppies, you have to kind of, your mind kind of goes there. Anyway, welcome to my tech talk. My Garfield related TED talk. Okay, that's where I want it. So many blind jumps. Oh, it'd absolutely be funnier if you actually drank dog jizz. Or it could have just been a CYA sort of situation. Where Jim Davis knew it was just, like, too fucking weird. Is the timing changing? Oh, it is. Okay, cool. Yeah. Are you kidding me? What? There's got to be more to that jump than that. Like, this is the first time I've been like, no, I don't want to do this. But why would Liz have a cup of dog jizz on a counter? I don't know. I just don't know. Like, everything up to this moment I felt was pretty reasonable. You needed a little bit of Kaizo knowledge, but you could do without. This, I don't think I can. No! Oh, it's the end at least. I still like this more than Nitrogen's level. That's one I'm happy. I went and cheated, and I'm like, I don't think I want to do this, and I'm not going to. That's going to be the thing that stands. Isn't knowledge a statement? I disagree. I think Kaizo does imply a certain types of knowledge about how falling works, how regrabs work, how jumps work, that you may or may not acquire in standard play. Now, don't get me wrong, like, standard play can teach you a lot of useful Kaizo trickery. In fact, I'd advise anybody who's learning to Kaizo to at least play the first level of jump, just because it bundles in an awful lot of useful trickery knowledge really fast in a pleasant environment where you have to learn, where you can learn it without, you know, being pressured to use it immediately in dangerous situations. There we go. No more. Waluigi died on a grinder puzzle while getting to the end. A true OLDC3 hero. Waluigi died on his way to his home planet. The end. Like, the two-tile jumps, being able to proc a thwomp and land on it. Generally not something you have to do in standard, for the most part. Of course, very hard is a category that allows for all sorts of nonsense, so... But I also would expect that since now we allow for, like, double titling these things, or double tagging these things, you'll see fewer straight up very hard and an awful lot more mixed content. Just because I think it's an easier sell for a lot of people. Inspired by the new Mario World? I've never played the new Mario World. I assume that's a hack. Yeah, I looked at the name and it wasn't one I was familiar with explicitly. I probably played something of theirs before, but I just don't know it. This is also, like, my least favorite thing. Actually, you know what? Let's fall off like a dumbass. Hacked by online video surfer? Okay. Yep, wouldn't have guessed that. I'm not familiar with that at all. What was my thought there that make sense? Also, when I first saw that, I thought you were gonna write Luigi died for your sins. It's one of those ads I've got. Got more rants on Goodbye Volcano High, if I'm keen. I mean, if you want to, if you feel the need to, I'm fine to hear. I'm never going to play the game. I'm going to be honest. Visual novels are not my bag. Pretty much. So I'm never going to play that game. Western visual novels doubly so. Like, I will play the occasional, like, Neptunia or Danganronpa game or something of that ilk. But I have zero interest in Western visual novels. I guess outside of, I played Doki Doki Literature Club, but it's hardly a visual novel and more like a, tech demo of all of the weird stuff you can make Ren'Py do. There we go. Other thing people use for those, it's called Twine. Intended for them to be played in the browser. Yeah. Yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club was Ren'Py. I've heard of Twine. I always thought Twine was more of a, like, less of a game engine, more of a way of organizing your thoughts. Like, it does remind me a little bit of HyperCard, except HyperCard is way cooler. Just because HyperCard is awesome. Like, one of these days, I might just actually, like, do a HyperCard stream if I can get it rigged up. Yeah, very simple. Very, very simple. I've definitely heard of it, never used it. It doesn't appeal to me because I don't have the need to, like, sketch out ideas in that form. And if I was going to write a simple game that used that type of mechanics, I'd just use HTML. I know enough HTML, I don't need a thing to do it for me. Like, basically, if you wanted to make something akin to Caverns of Blood, you could do it with Twine, I guess. Not sure why you'd necessarily do it, but you probably could. Use simple visual novels, that makes sense. I think Ren'Py is also supposed to be pretty simple. Like, you don't need to understand coding too much. Like, you can do everything without a lot of conditionals and everything. There's no for loops. Like, it's a very simple scripting type language. When I mean scripting, I mean more akin to you write the script that you want to write. Like, you know, Bob says this, Linda says this, Tina says this, and then you just change the poses out when you need to change out the poses. Throughout the entire thing, there's a threat of an asteroid that's going to hit the planet and kill all the dinosaur OCs. Through most of the game, they're like, oh, the risk of it actually hitting us will drop. After a time skip near the ass crack at the end of the game, it's like, oh, it's going to kill us, we have a week to live. That's lame. Twine supports CSS, JavaScript, and other stuff. Oh, okay. Very web-based. That makes sense. Like I said, I've heard of it. I've never used it or knew much about it. I have to say, that coincides very well with the ending of the TV show Dinosaurs, where dinosaur-inflicted global warming screws over the entire planet. It's a rather depressing ending if you want to go see it. It's on YouTube. It also has funny-looking puppetry, which is why I'd recommend looking at it, because funny puppets are funny. But I never watched much of it as a kid because we didn't have the right channels for it. So rather than Dino NASA figuring out how to stop it or people take shelter to get annihilated, they throw a concert on the very day it's supposed to hit. And then the game goes black and white, the last optional music segment. You don't even see the asteroid besides a bunch of Aurora Borealis in the air. Remember the Dinosaur TV show ending and made a bunch of allusions to it? Makes sense. Oh, you mean you made the allusions, or the game made allusions to it? I'm trying to stream and read and think is not something that necessarily works all the time. Especially not in a level like this. But it's very silly. That sounds like a very silly ending. Okay, here's my idea. Take advantage of the fact that takes a little bit... Oh, crap. Alright, downside, that thing is invisible now. That worked. Alright, we're back to this. Okay. I made the illusions that ending was also... Because that ending was also ridiculous. Fair. No! That's literally the last possible pixel... Well, I guess there's the pit pixels that can kill me. It's a long way to the top if you want a Waluigi. Just a cruel last obstacle. I do not know how to do that. But yeah, with a name like that, the name like Goodbye Volcano High, you expect an awful lot more of the time would have been spent dealing with the existential angst of, if the world's going to end in a week, what are we even doing here? I'd say you probably need to like dig into like a Cold War aesthetic possibly for that kind of a concept to work all that well, though. Some Cold War sort of thoughts. I don't know why I landed. Certain games also play D&D. You met L&L. Lizards and Lairs. Sections where it's an imagination land. You see the cast of new RPG closing quests. It's less exciting than it sounds. That's a shame. I mean, I always thought that was like a pretty standard cartoon cliche. In fact, I think the Muppet Babies basically had most episodes work that way. It's a TV show you'll never, ever, ever see released on DVD form. Too much licensed content from LucasArts and the other places. Or, not LucasArts. LucasArts is the video game people. But George Lucas and others. It's a long level. A thought occurs. This might be the only level well, one of two levels I beat this evening. I was very optimistic about being done today, but I don't think that's going to happen. Where's George? I mean, does that still exist? I don't think I've ever seen one of those out in the wild. Oh, George of George Lucas. I was thinking about the project Where's George, where they were using it to like track money as it moved around the country. I always thought it sounded like a cool project. Problem is, I have terrible handwriting, so I can't actually do it. Probably should have bought a stamp if I actually wanted to participate, but... doesn't exactly matter. Don't even know if it's still running. One of those Web 1.0 things that you have to wonder, did it make the great transition? Project failed because of me? It absolutely did not. It failed or succeeded on its own merits. Of people wanting to stamp dollar bills in a way that is technically illegal, but not actually illegal. Or, well, You're not actually going to get punished for it, is what I mean. It's one of those things, you know? Not like the IRS or the Secret Service is going to come knock on your door if they discover you got a Where's George stamp. Last session they played, they fought some god monster that represented the asteroid and actually had a pretty cool design. Too bad the fight was mostly PNGs talking to each other. I mean, that's what D&D is. It's PNGs talking to... Nah, I can't even say that with a straight face. Slight movement moment where you saw one of the characters missing color out of their arm and it was just an outline. That does sound interesting, at least in terms of an aesthetic effect. Use the sun to burn a hole in a dollar bill. That's one of the many uses of the sun. I'm a fan of it. But the sun, not the burning a hole. You know, one thing I will say is unlike some of the other really long levels, at least this area level gives a lot of space to just chill in the event you need to chill. It was completely unintentional. Oh. Here's my question. How much did your friend pay for this game? Like, visual novels are already kind of a hard sell. But I really think that if you're paying for visual novel, $20 is like the upper limit. Unless, like, it's got a whole bunch of real cool shit. $30? Nuts to that. While Venus was transiting the sun. That sounds pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I would say for $30, it needs to be, like, fully voiced with people you actually want to hear their voices. And, of course, it probably, given it's a visual novel, should have some amount of pornography for $30. But still. Like, I'm pretty sure you can get the Danganronpa games for a lot less, and, you know, there's actually fun gameplay in the, both the point-and-click adventure sections and the trial sections. How do you sell me on a 6-hour visual novel with no branching paths? I mean, you sell them on the other stuff. Like, I assume the rhythm game thing was good enough, and there was enough of it, I might actually want to play it, but, like, eh? Like, in the case of Danganronpa, which, you know, doesn't really have any branching paths, it's because, you know, the trial minigames are a lot of fun. And it's a good point-and-click adventure game in addition to being a visual novel. It's not merely using visual novel as a genre, it's mostly using it as a way to deliver the actual story, much in the way that anime is both a medium and a genre. Simply using visual novel as the medium. And same thing I say would argue with like Neptunia games and other RPGs that are doing that kind of thing nowadays. Using visual novel as the medium to tell the story as opposed to using like in-game cutscenes or FMVs or whatnot. Frog Fractions is indeed the best visual novel. Don't have to do it, you just put the controller down and the game progresses like normal. I think we call that a movie. There was a period in time where everyone was convinced interactive movies would be the thing. And we all know how that went. I think I might need to get up after this attempt and use the bathroom. Parts where you make critical choices, but it's really a bad David Cage game and it railroads you immediately back to the normal path. Oh. That's lame. It's like when the king says, oh, but you must go save the villagers. And you're like, nah. And he's like, but you must. And you're like, nah. He's like, but you must. You're like, nah. Stupid communist choice. Can enjoy an interactive movie. They can be fun. I'm just saying that they were never the big category of gaming that was, or multimedia that was, they were expected to be. Like, they really thought that this was the future of video gaming, and then suddenly polygons, and bam, Doom, and shit. I do not care about the villagers. I do care about the village people, but not about the villagers. No, but like when an RPG gives you the choice of, you know, be a complete dick or do the right thing, you have to try out the be a complete dick path at least once, just to see if the game will let you. And sometimes you get real cool results. Like Evo Search for Eden, you actually get like some extra cutscenes whenever, you know, you actually accept someone's request to... to become their right-hand man, or dinosaur, or bird person, or whatever you are at this point in the game. Fish. Right, that was not the spin jump area. You get bonus cutscenes that don't actually matter, it's just like, this is what would have happened. Ah, damn it. Evo Search for Eden is badass. Yeah, it's a fun game. Can I imagine a terrible alternate universe where Sega CD games became the norm? Oh yes, Night Trap was the most celebrated game of all time. I've been meaning to play out the, what's that one? I want to try out the progenitor of Evo, the original RPG for PC 98. Now that I've got a PC 98 emulator set up, I can. I don't know when I'll do it, but like it's one of those I could just decide to do that pretty quickly before stream as opposed to having to think about it. Had it set up a few years back. I was going to do it on April Fool's Day, and then I think I just asked Squiggles which thing he thought was funnier, and he's like, nah, Vaporwave's funnier. So instead I played Broken Reality, which it has a sequel coming out soonish, so I want to replay the original to remember what exactly was happening in that game and actually finish it properly, because I didn't get all of the triangles. I forgot what the MacGuffins were in that game. In order to beat the game, you need to get like 7 out of 12 of them. But I legitimately do not remember what they were. But Broken Reality 2000 does appear to be a different and new game, so, and not just a remake or expansion thereof. So I'm interested in playing the old one again. And we'll remember to actually read the hacking dialogue thing. Best part of the sprite is sometimes you have normal mode. It truly is a dumb shit sprite. Alright, I said I was going to get up and take a short stretch break. I will be right back. Must lie down. Thank you for the good luck, Awaluta. Sleep well or relax well or whatever. And I'm pokey now, I just noticed that. Overall, good ball Volcano High. Would have been a fun riff with a buddy until you stop paying attention. If it was $10, $30 makes it daylight robbery. Well, if you're looking for a visual novel that is not good and might be riff-worthy, you can always get the Stay, My Trip to North Korea. Could have bought it twice and equal the price of Sonic Superstars, a 3-hour game. Fair. At least Sega knows when they're doing shovelware. And prices it appropriately. Nuts. Alright. Beverage time. Does not help when you're thirsty. I was actually thinking about what to do tomorrow. I'm vaguely tempted between two stupid ideas. Or I could play an OLDC. But the two ideas are finally do the Doom WAD survey thing, play a bunch of Doom WADs from like 1993 that came from a French magazine disc. I think it's French, I'm not sure. It might be a regular one. Or Adventures in Advergaming McDonald's Edition. Because, dear lord, there's a lot of McDonald's games out there. Because the M&M one was actually pretty fun. Maybe Coke. Still need to go play the Coke game. convince you to eat at McDonald's? That might be trickier. Life is Strange is a definitely better riffing visual novel. I've heard people actually like Life is Strange, though. That probably helps. Is that a visual novel? Like, I thought it was a video game, or... I thought it was a video game. I thought it was like an adventure game of some sort. More like a telltale game? Where it's mostly dialogue trees, very little in the way of actual puzzle solving. That kind of thing. I know some people like those. I tried the Strong Bad one once and it didn't, like, instantly click, but I wouldn't say no to going back and doing the Monkey Island ones. I did get the Monkey Island ones just in case they got delisted on Steam, because I know at some point I'll need to play them someday. More comparable to something like Heavy Rain. I didn't play Heavy Rain either. Like, the only thing I remember about Heavy Rain was someone making the obvious Team Fortress 2 joke. But that's literally all I know about that. Please don't disappear on me. Alright. And Life is Strange is unintentionally hilarious. It's not Roy's one. Alright, I died further to the right. We could call that progress. Or we could choose not to. It really didn't make a difference. It's just a long and stressful level. Putty bellows. What? Gress. I feel like I've stepped into another chat room suddenly. Oh, PB Gress. Oh, I guess Gress as an affix. Yeah, okay, fair enough. One of those, yeah, Pat, maybe think about what you're reading. It does help a lot. Convince you to eat at McDonald's. Okay, here's my best argument for why you should eat at McDonald's. You know that swimmer, like, what's his name, Phelps? Whenever he goes somewhere internationally, he always goes to McDonald's and eats nothing but chicken nuggets. The reason being that McDonald's supply chain is very well managed, and they generally take care of cleanliness issues pretty well. And so he's less likely to end up with Deli Belly or Montezuma's Revenge or whatever bad thing that comes from drinking local water, eating local food, than he would if he, you know, went and tried out the local cuisine. And because he's there to swim, you know, something that kind of requires you to not be sick, it tends to work out pretty well for him. So there you go. That's the most convincing argument I can provide. The other convincing argument is you're in an airport. It's like 2 a.m. and it's the only effing thing open. Or how I ended up eating at Burger King last time I ate at Burger King. I was just so effing hungry after a 7-hour flight to Miami that it was necessary. Even though, like, I don't really like Burger King or McDonald's, just how it worked out. Alright. It takes me 2 whole minutes to get here. I don't know why. I need to, like, get over to the far right side for that. Unless normal McDonald's food gives you food poisoning. Yeah, I suppose it's possible. I mean, I would doubt... I mean, I guess if you had certain allergies. If you get an English muffin. I mean, they have Egg McMuffins. Those are pretty tasty, I'm not gonna lie. Like, but it's also a fairly simple concept, you know, put your sausage or ham, weirdly cylindrical egg, cheese, English muffin. It's a good way to go. Also reminds me I should do this again before I run out of lives. But yes, this week is just getting a few things done. Like, the important things this week are getting just a few things that remain done before I head out. Did laundry. Well, need to do some more laundry come, probably Friday or Saturday, but I'll leave it till then do the packing. Vaguely tempted to do, like, an afternoon stream on Saturday, just because I don't want to stay up too late. Afternoon stream... Get some food. Maybe play some pinball. Try to head to bed early. Like, my flight's not that early. I really just need to make sure I get out of here by about noon. Maybe a little bit earlier if I'm worried about checking a bag. And I'm on the fence about whether or not I want to check a bag. The only reason I would check a bag is if I want to take this bottle of whiskey that I have to my sister, which I think I want to, because I definitely don't want it myself. I did buy it thinking of her, and I thought that she would actually like it for its purposes, her purposes. But we'll see. What's the whiskey? Oh, that's a good question. It's a localish thing. I couldn't tell you the exact brand. I bought it at this local distillery event a couple weeks ago. I was hanging out with Fiskbit. And the event wasn't as good as its progenitor, but it was a pretty decent event still. Got some good bottles. The nice thing about these events typically is they don't charge tax because of some charity thing. And Washington's liquor taxes are obscene. I think I got a pretty decent bottle of bourbon for like 25 bucks, which is not something that happens in Washington. But the key thing with this particular one is I think it was aged in like maple syrup casks. And my sister does like making maple syrup old fashions, and so I thought it would fit well with her repertoire. So. Hot take, those gaps should be one. Look, Hawaluta will team up with the guy who made this and do a special edition where everything is just worse. Yeah, I bought a few bottles from that event. Some local stuff. I got some good blackberry liqueur that I've been enjoying. Gotta age beer in maple syrup bourbon barrels. I mean, I don't know about aging beer sometimes. Part of the problem is, like, the extra water content makes it leach out things that aren't necessarily what you want. I find usually what happens with, like, beer aged in, like, whiskey barrels is it takes on some amount of whiskey flavor. But you could also just do that by putting whiskey in your beer. It's called a Boilermaker, and they tend to be pretty delicious anyway. If you feel the need to do that. Or you can just drink the whiskey. Which is always a good option. Depending on the whiskey, of course. What else did I get? I think I picked up a couple bottles of Copperworks. And the reason for that was they had a couple of their releases that were... had one release that was effectively the same thing as the other one, but the other one had a little bit of sherry added to it. It was a very interesting, like, side-by-side taste. Punish your whiskey with beer. Like I said, it's an option. I didn't say you'd have to. One of those things I'll probably actually do while I'm over in the vaguely DC area is try to make my way over to, Mount Vernon. I always want to call it Martha's Vineyard, but I know that's wrong. Because they actually have a pretty nice distillery there that does that does apple brandy and other brandy sometimes. Their peach brandy God, how long ago was that? Forever ago was really good. Definitely something that was worth buying. And of course, it's just a nice place. I guess for the benefit of people who are not Americans. They still have George Washington trees. They have a lot of George Washington stuff It's where George and Martha Washington lived for the better parts of their lives. George Washington being the first president of the United States, and Martha being the first lady of the United States. I've done at least one of the tours there. It was the National Treasure 2 tour. And they were really excited about this. They were so excited that people were over there filming this, because like they're volunteers and nothing exciting happens. Like most of the time they just are watching kids groups come and go, and other random tourists. But they were really excited about it and explained about all these things like, and of course, Mount Vernon wouldn't need to be the president's last choice. We're always available. Just all the sort of weirdness of that movie. Talking about the secret tunnels, like, if there was a secret tunnel, it'd be around here, but there isn't. If I went back, I'd probably want the regular old tour, just to, you know, actually see the regular old things. But I'm not much of one for historical tours. I'd rather just walk around and see things. Depending upon whether or not the government shuts down, I might go and try to do a couple Smithsonians while I'm there too, but I went and saw most of the ones I'd normally go see during the summer. So unless they've changed over some of the special collections, I probably don't need to. I still can't believe that in the, was it East Wing of the National Gallery, they still have those god-awful mobiles. Like, I thought they would have rotated those out years ago, but they've been there for, like, since 2019, 2018, maybe? And they're just not very good. But at least you can enjoy the blue cock on the top of the building. What about the other presidents? We don't count those. I don't think those were really counted as presidents, but my grasp of pre-1776 history is not the best. Because, you know, history only really started around 1776. As we all know. Whoop. Gonna wait for it. Whoop. Wait. There we go. My controller's doing something funny. I wonder if that's what Hawoluta meant by, I got close enough. Like, do you make it to the saw and was like, nah, I'm done? Because I have a hard time believing in 40 minutes of Hawaluta's time, he didn't get that saw. Knowing what I know about Hawaluta's general skill level. And love of this sort of thing. Like the convenient respawning thing. After 1776. Wouldn't blame anybody for stopping there. I mean, I'm so close! That's the problem. It's the sunk cost fallacy. In level form. Like, I've learned all of the silly tricks I need. None of the ones in front of it are terribly dangerous to me now. Like, I'm generally making it close-ish to the end every time. Or dying near the beginning in some sort of stupid way. Oh, Articles of Confederacy. I mean, you're talking about the Confederate presidents? I mean, in terms of celebrating the Confederate presidents, that's really only something the South does. And even though my dad would occasionally get Jefferson Davis Day off, he was never happy about it. But at the same time, it's an effing holiday! So, you can't complain too much. Not that? Alright, well then I don't know, and at this point, I don't care. I'm just happy I beat the level. Big H, yep. If you're a fan, you stop there and say, dear God, what do you think about that ending? I can't disagree. That ending is just a bit cruel. Just a bit. Is there anything else? No. Let's see what's in the Yoshi's house. Oh. That makes sense. Indeterminate. Well, I guess that just says it all.